But for this round, we're finally into pistol, and this time it's going to be 8 frenzies instead of 9, but it looks to be a potential bloodbath towards you very soon.
Well, hopefully you meant U-Haul and not me specifically. I'm not prepared for that. We'll see what's going to happen here. Sick gets the first pickup on the round. Nature dropped, and that kind of scares them away a little bit. You can see them backing off after the initial push didn't work out so well. No success gained, a player lost. Now, the B site defense is a little bit weakened. You've got a high cam up just outside of Hookah from Dapper. That'll allow a peek down into sight. Should they decide to take it, he'll be able to get that intel. You can see it right there just sitting on the wall. Dapper, though, has now snuck into Cubby. Shazam is using his Owl drone to spot anything out over on long. There was no one there just yet. But they're going to be figuring this out pretty quickly here. We might start seeing players shift over. They've also got 2 players positioned ready for a quick pinch through the port, but we could also see a port back here from IMT. We'll see what ends up happening. There's the push into the site. The camera's going to give away the first position. Dapper's taken down, a shot up, moves into sight. JC Stanny with the execution as well onto Shazam. There's the portal play with both players coming through. Sick now has to make a move as the hot hands comes through. The nade is out as well. Good damage coming down. And we're suddenly back in an advantage here for Sentinels. Just like that, you snap your fingers and they're back on the site. So they got great openings for IMT, but they couldn't control the site. Yet again, their post plants. It's not working out for them here in the pistol.
Yeah, and it started off well, at least for Sentinels too, like forcing out the hot hands from Sick at the U-shaped hallway when they were actually trying to push up for Immortals. They know now utility, if they want to ever come back towards the A side, it's going to be weaker, but as they get into B, it's fully open. They get a couple of openings, post-plant situation, they were in great, well, not necessarily in great positions yet, but they still had a great numbers advantage. But when it came back to Sentinels on that retake, my gosh, that was fast. All those frenzies that came out for the trades, you saw that Shazam didn't have it on that first round because he still had a Shark Dart and an Owl Drone, so he was trying to scout that out for Sentinels at the beginning, where the Owl Drone didn't scout anybody. So they did get surprised going to the B site. But the retake was just well done for Sentinels. Again, playing for a setup. Those kills went out so fast, so they were ready for immediate trades. This round, quick rush, split from Immortals into this B side, jumping in the air, trade back and forth, as it's not so bad to start for the Immortals.
Last player standing.
Again, Sentinels rock solid. Nice shot from Gangsta. Point blank range with the Sheriff. Limited success for Immortals here. Couple of kills, 2 in the round. But now we'll see the buy come in. We'll see what Sentinels decides to do. They've had pretty good success rate in these bonus rounds that we've seen, at least looking at that first map. Sick, 6-0 to start things off. Already has the ult available.
Crazy.
I feel like we're going to see it here. We might see the portal play. You can see Sick is on long B currently, so we might see a play towards port, or we might just see a charge down long B. But I anticipate that play coming out.
Yeah, probably recon dart towards Fountain, and then go for the Owl Drone through the teleporter if they don't see anybody there. And then you have Sick that's going to go through with the run it back right after. But they choose otherwise. You saw that he did pull out the Owl Drone, but then decided to say, look, we haven't heard any type of early opposition towards the showers yet, because Zoms is already in there. And then finally, there you go. After that recon dart got shot into the showers, Sick pulls it out, and now there's going to be pressure on both sides. So they know it's a default for the Immortals, and Sick is just going to battle down Fountain.
That flash made it difficult for him to spot out his target, but damage was dealt. As JC Stanny is limping away from the battle. No Sage this time around, no heals to bring him back to full HP.
Yeah.
So IMT is going to be working with one player severely limited. It looks like they're going to be heading back towards the A site. You've got 2 players currently in showers, 3 here on the defense. There's 1 in U-Haul, 1 playing back behind APC, and then you've got 1 up in heaven. That would be Sinatra as Rays. Nice fat paranoia to try to slow down the push. That allows Dapper to get into the corner. Dapper from distance able to find a quick kill. Zoms is there as well. And again, the SMGs proving to be way more powerful in the hands of Sentinels than the rifles are for IMT. The last player on the site is trying to escape through the showers. JC Stanley just wants to get a spike plant out of this. Sick says, no way, not on my watch. The last remaining player is Gangsta. And while he's back on his trusty Sova, there's not really much that can be done here. Just looking to take out 1 or 2 more players and then save the rifle yet again. Has the ult to bring into the next round, but it's another one on the scoreboard, and there's Zoms. Ready and waiting for Gangsta. It's 3-0. Sentinels have not stopped. Where they left off in that first map, they pick up in the second.
Yeah, it was difficult for Immortals to take over that A site after the initial battle towards Fountain, because when we clicked through the players quite quickly, we still had a full kit for Zoms, we still had a full kit for Sinatra playing up towards Heaven. They even double up in SMGs in towards U-shaped hallway, and the fight was perfect in their favor for Sentinels. There was no trade there. Again, that story comes back into these 1-versus-1 battles, or the face-to-face battles always seems to favor Sentinels, and you could try to pull out as many utilities as you can. You could try to push as many times as you can as a team, but if you're not getting those those kills like that, like they're doing right now for Sentinels, you're into a very steep uphill battle to try to come back. Sentinels are sending a message, and they continue to send it right now in the second map.
This is the Sentinels we expected to see earlier in the event, but they seem to struggle at times. Here, though, they look buttery smooth.
Oh, yeah.
As it's IMT who is having a difficult time against them. Now, as I say that, I cast or curse it a bit for the Sentinels fans in chat.
Standard.
Sick is the lone defender now, getting flashed out, has to be careful. I'm not sure they spotted him inside that smoke. That'll allow him to stay in this position a little while longer. The bullets pouring through the wall from the Odin. You can guess who's got that one. Sick finally pokes his head out, but the biggest problem, look where the spike is. So far away from the play that they couldn't really make a move. Luckily for them, in the meantime, Gangsta kind of snuck up on this A site, got behind them, and now they've got a player advantage, and they've got that ult to work with as well. So they've got Hunter's Fury to try and make this a little bit easier. They've got to face off against Sick and Sinatra first, though.
Yeah, Sinatra, he has 2 blast packs if he wants to try to jump into the site. For Sick, I'm pretty sure he has a couple of curveballs still, sorry, but we have great positioning for Immortals. Looking to double up, there's that curveball from Sick, but the double peek from JC Stein and his teammate from you, leaving Sinatra by his lonesome. First contact is coming in from the showers, and that's going to spot Gangsta. Again, still having his ult, so he can fall all the way back towards spawn just to make sure that he guarantees his round. We tap the spike, we're trying to bait it out, but we don't even need it. We have the 3 players peeking at the same time, and the Thrifty comes in favor of Immortals. And who were the first 2 that got the kills on the board? Chemicals and Shot Up. Getting that getting the hookah control together and just opening up long range with a Sheriff and a Stinger. That's not easy to do at that distance.
I mean, it was really Gangsta, though, with his lurk pushing through in that A site. If it weren't for him, this round could have gone very differently. Unfortunately, they don't really get much out of that. You know, they get the Odin and 1 rifle. So, yeah, sure, it's a thrifty round, so their money's good, but they didn't walk away with as much as they could have had that gone towards the B side where there was way more weapons down.
Yeah, well, those 2 initial kills pulled out their rotation from the A side, too. And then when that boombot came out and he shot it out, you think that the attack was going to come towards B, but Shot Up, this round is going to come with the run it back to clear out, create some space. Hunter's Fury to be countered by Shazam. Same thing to come to try to take it down. It's going to be Legolas mirrored. But still, nobody getting kills out of that one, but the space has been created. The site is almost taken as Sinatra is still at the A cubby. Raining damage still for 2 kills, make that 3 into the round. And just like that, just 1 more to go. After that whole hiatus from the run it back into Hunter's Fury, it's just Sentinels running back into the site and dominating Immortals.
Was that a Lord of the Rings reference?
Yeah. I was trying to find something different. We always say that too many times.
No, I actually started watching those movies recently with my kids, and they're loving it. So
it's great for sleeping.
It is. Or if you want to go for a walk, you can see how to walk by watching all of those movies.
True.
Because that's most of what those movies are, is just a whole lot of walking. Looking at this next round, the buy for Immortals is clumsy. It's not really what you want to see. Sick. Taken out pretty quickly, though, by Shot Up with just a Stinger. That's a fast kill coming in from them as well, and it looks like they want to explode off this potentially. Shot Up's taken out, and they've also got to worry about this player that's coming through. That's the ult being popped. At least Chemicals got the kill first, but the rocket is delivered. And in the end, it'll be brought down to 2. Nice paranoia coming out. Dapper's got to move behind the box, manages to find safety, and then just says, I see your spray, and I give you just a few bullets to the skull. Gangsta alone. It's a 1v2. The Aldrone's going to go out in response to the Aldrone that initially tagged him. Good movement to go inside the smoke. But the bullets are going to come through, and it's an interesting battle between the Sovas with some backup coming in from their Omen. That'll be Zoms, who's up now on top of the box. Nice paranoia coming out. Gangsta just hides inside the smoke, and the round goes the way of Sentinels. More of the same 5 HP is all that remains
That's
for
it.
Shazam.
It was so close. First off, I want to commend the timing that was so well done for Shut Up and Chemicals. Because you saw from the point of view of Sick inside Hookah, he was already aiming down to try to get rid of that boombot, which means now the Stinger is aiming at the legs of Shut Up where he could just run in and just fight him back with his own SMG and get that fight. In the end, though, on that 1 versus 1, before Shazam finally had some backup from Zombs, I just love the back and forth between those two Sovas together, playing with the L drones through the smoke, running through the smoke, going back and forth through the trades. But it's still going to be the numbers advantage that takes the upper hand for Sentinels in the end. And that fight on Hookah was so important. It shows how much Sentinels are doing very well using the portals in their favor. And now they're finally trying to take Shower's control, and they take the upper hand for Immortals.
Sentinels looking great on the defense.
There.
The hat's been tossed out for Immortals to give away the positions. They've got control of Hookah. The Chemicals and Shot Up trying to move in. Now there is going to be one on site. That is Shazam with some support coming in as well. Ult's been popped by JC Stanny. That's from the shadows, allowing him to get into a site. A high nade does some damage as it rains out over the site. Sinatra's dropped by his counterpart on the other side, Chemicals. Shazam just spamming through that smoke, looking to do some damage. But it's actually Dapper who drops the spike planter Nature through the bin, making things a little bit more palatable for Sentinels. Chemicals will have to go back in, scoop up the spike, and go for the plant. They're not prepared for Sick, who's already on the flank coming through from Hookah. We've still got Dapper in spawn, but it's a quick shot coming out from JC Stanley to make things easier for them. Sick still doing great work. Popped the ult as he got shot, so it's a 1-2 punch. But Shazam gonna line up 2, and some insurance bullets at the end as well, just to make sure reincarnation is not going to be a factor in the round. 6-1 for Sentinels. It was looking really good there for IMT. After that ult got popped for Sick, because you see the run it back popped, he dies immediately, then dies in the same spot, because all they have to do is just keep holding down the trigger. But Shazam is there to shut it down in the end, even when it's close.
He killed him. Pretty sure he killed him like half blinded too.
Yeah.
So that was very well done for Shazam, and like you said, like those insurance bullets, they want to make sure that the last 2 players doesn't have a run it back themselves. Very well done for Sick.
Run it back while you're dead, like.
Yeah. And there you go. Yeah, you see it from that replay in the pip. He was definitely full blind actually looking at that and getting 2 wallbang shots in the end for the last 2 kills. And I gotta say, there was a slight misstep being played for Immortals in a pulse plan, because when Sick was flanking at the beginning, he was making a lot of footsteps in Sands. Should have been hurt there by Gangstar inside Hookah. Nonetheless, though, 6-1. Not much money to work with in this round for Immortals. Couple of Stingers, 1 Sheriff, and the first one already to fall as they continue this dynamic duo of Chemicals and Shut Up trying to take this Hookah control. And it's always that long-range battle where, yes, it worked a couple of rounds ago where they finally maybe had that first round. But outside of that, you need those rifles to come in. And when they have those rifle rounds, Sentinels are just fighting back right at the window against them.
Back to the B site they go. Chemicals gonna fly out. Sick with a curveball to slow it down. You can hear the damage dealt to his teammate through that smoke. Grunt. But it's Sick who's basically making this look easy. That's 3 kills on the round for Sick. Sinatra and Shazam show up in the end. The tongue twister. Try to say that 5 times fast. Sinatra and Shazam show up in the end. 7-1. And it's looking just as bad as Split did as well, with individual performance being a consistent thread across both maps thus far.
You can see those trap wires being set up here by Dapper that locks a couple of players. So these attempts towards this B side, yeah, they get into the side. Pulse plan not working too well. I gotta say, not necessarily lucky on the round that they got when Shazam got that 2 kill, but Shazam did get 2 kills while he was fully blinded. But outside of that, they're not able to hold these pulse plants and these openings. What can work? They're going to try to work with a showstopper, trying to push out towards the back of the site. We have, actually connects onto the octagon, onto Chemicals. Gangsta's trying to clear up towards the octagon at the same time, and Elbow. So that's already 2 utilities or 2 ultimates being utilized from Immortals to clear out the site. They still have to run it back. Maybe for them to really want to try to guarantee this round, just pop all the ultimates and just try to win that round.
Actually bested by Nature. I thought for sure
Same here.
Zoms was going to win that 1v1. But now they've got a decent opportunity. Cybercage is going to go down. The tripwire was taken out immediately. Shazam has to be careful as paranoia prevents him from really being able to do much on top of the Cybercage and dark cover that were present on top of him. Dapper up in heaven,
Right here.
finding a shot onto shot up. Gangsta's in the corner by Cubby. And JC Stanley's got the crossfire. This is a great setup for IMT. They should be able to win this round with the numbers advantage and the positions that they've got. There's the boombot coming through first. That'll give away the position. And yeah, pretty quickly goes the way of IMT. That's what one would hope. They had solid post-plant setups, and this time they don't make any mistakes, and they manage to capitalize on those positions.
Yeah, and it's not over yet. I think 7-2, yes, it looks very one-sided, but there's still a lot of Valorant to be played in this half. Seeing a 7-5 and 8-4, something very normal that we see actually on the defender side where they take the lead by 4 or 5 rounds. So I wouldn't give up yet as an Immortals fan. They're still looking for answers outside of the dominance that they have from hookah control, and they had a few successes by taking over showers control. So there's still ways to get control of the site. But again, as I mentioned in the first map, the mid round, the late rounds for Sentinels seems to be very good for this team currently in this best out of 5, and we need to find that answer here for Immortals. But to start the initial round, it's to run it back, a split to the A side, and Sinatra and company of Sentinels will give up the site.
Sinatra's in a great position right now. Oh no! The timing! Sinatra looks away at the worst possible second. Likely would have been able to find a pickup there. I like the move, though, getting vertical on top of the box. It's a bit risky given the lack of sight control. But look at the positions right now. So many players over on the side of U-Haul. There's going to be a brawl in this direction. It's a back and forth volley of kills. 1 for 1 for 1. Zon's now moving in, gets the best of JC Stanley. There's one around the corner. Curveball's right inside of his face. That shot up coming out on top of it, and it's going to be a 1v1. It's shot up versus Shazam. Shazam is towards the site, has not yet tapped the spike. Shot up's coming around the bend, and Shot up does what Shot up does best. It's a clutch round coming in for IMT, and a third round on the board. If they can close this half out 7-5, it's not too bad.
That's right. That's literally what we were saying before. Literally what we were saying before. Just try to get these last 2 rounds. You've worked enough, actually, that if you look at this scoreboard now, chat, they're actually low in economy for Sentinels. So they still have a chance here to bring it to 7-4. But the thing is, it is Sentinels. And I've mentioned this to you, Mark, before we went into this series, is like, okay, well, thankfully, Haven's not in there, because when Haven is in the series and you see Sentinels with SMGs, rather, they're still very good with these guns. Who knows what's going to happen now onto Bind, because we haven't seen a lot of Sentinels since probably the last year. But let's see what they do with it on the defender side. And it starts off with them switching things up on the defenders a little bit by having Sinatra play all the way close towards showers.
It's quiet early on. Got Sinatra up top on the boxes outside of showers. Again, early presence from Immortals towards Hookah, but they don't press that issue like they have in the past. It's good for them that they didn't, as there was one in there waiting, although it isn't really a great buy coming in from Dapper. It's an SMG in his hands. On the site for Sentinels, we've got 2 players. We've got Raze, that's Sinatra, and then you've got Zombs as well. The Omen. They use the blast pack to take out any hardware that could be down. Sinatra's going to try and go for the swan dive, but ends up clunking his head on the side instead and gets dropped by nature. There's still one on the site. The flash comes through, and Zombs doesn't really have a choice. Tries to go for the peek, but can't see much. And the site is lost. The flank comes through, but the run it back expires before he's able to do any damage. It's a 3-on-5 retake. Another promising look for IMT.
Yeah, especially after that running back being canceled. It's such a long rotate for Sick, as everybody else from Sentinels is still waiting for him, the ones that are still alive. So that wastes a lot of time onto this spike that's currently taken down. And again, it's still great positioning. It's down to a 4 versus 2. You're starting to maybe give up on these on this retake attempt for Sentinels. As with these SMGs, maybe they're looking for a double peak or something, but they are very low on the economy. So I think you should try to save these last 2 weapons. First curveball, oh, he misses the blaze wall for them to try to cross. So that just makes it a lot easier here for Shut Up and JC Stani to just pick up the last 2 kills. 7-4 right now, so good 3 rounds in a row. 1 more to go, and we're back to a very close game.
Yeah, nice little burst of rounds for Immortals. As you take a look at the scoreboard, it's pretty even performance from Immortals, whereas you've got that kind of lone player sitting at the top for Sentinels with Sick sitting at 15, 6, and 1. But the kind of even performance for Immortals isn't really stellar, so you're hopeful that that'll change in the second half. Again, we did talk about this. Their defensive side looks really good when we watched them play the other day against LG. Specifically, their showers control, the 1-2 punch of JC Stanny and Nature. Very powerful. And here, one of those players going to kick things off. It's Nature. Dropping Dapper early in the round, who got aggressive on short, trying to force a fight, and give them an early advantage. Instead, they're at a disadvantage. Dart's going to come through, and Nature was hoping that it would bounce around the corner and continue to sneak up a little bit further. Got spotted by the Pulse, has to take it down and delay the play.
And on top of that, when Dapper was pushing towards short A, we had 3 players on showers. Now they rotate back. It was a long rotate again for Sentinels. They have an open sight, but now Sick tries to run through after the Owl drone came out. But it's still gonna lose. He's still gonna lose that fight versus Chemicals. Now, as he satchel charges, speaking about Chemicals on the top of the green boxes, it's gonna be an easy plant. Pulse plant on a 5 versus 3. Nothing really in terms of ultimates for a retake for Sentinels. They have probably a paranoia in the hands of Zombs that could maybe help them out on this retake. And Sinatra's making his way on a big flank with Shazam.
As a Cypher main, I'm always impressed by Ray's main's movement. That blast pack utilization from Chemicals to get on top of the double stack in sight. I always marvel at that. It's now down to just one remaining player. It's Shazam. So 7-5 scoreline for Immortals. A flawless round to end things as well. They're starting to pick up steam. We're going to throw things to a very quick break. When we come back, we'll see if they can keep that moving in the second half. Stay tuned. And right back into it we go. A nice little burst of rounds at the end that kept Immortals in this game, closing out the half 7-5. One of the biggest problems, though, for them in that first half was dealing with Sick. And we'll see how things shape up for them. I like the play coming in currently from Sentinels. They use the Shock Dart to take any Cypher hardware that would be down on short out of the equation, but they take significant damage on the intent to move up. They're still committing to this site, and it's a bloodbath right now as it's come down to a 3-on-3, and they still don't have site control, so what do? They pull the ripcord and try to get out. Chemicals does prevent Shazam from being able to rotate out. Look at the health that's remaining currently. You've got 1 HP, and with that Shock Dart coming in, a little bit scary. Going full pucker on the clench. And it's going to come down to that last player. Can he get killed by a dart? Is that possible? That would be amazing. No. Shots through the bin, though, so it doesn't matter.
Nice wallbang, too, with the Classic to get the kill in the end for Chemicals. And as I talked about Chemicals and that oof that I made, that long range that he had from Heaven onto Shazam to try to rotate onto the B teleporter was actually really nice. Just very well done for Immortals to slow down that aggressive push that came in from the short A side. And that's all thanks to the utility that was used by their defender, their Sentinel, the Nature, actually has Cypher right now, putting those cages up. And preventing Sentinels really getting more ground than past the U-shaped hallway. So very well done for Immortals. Again, versus Frenzies, you're winning those trades. You're happy about that one as well. So because Sentinels got a couple of kills, though, on that first round, it's going to be a full stinger round pretty much for Sentinels and a couple of Spectres for Immortals. So this is going to be another fast push from Sentinels, and this time for speed.
Going for that typical early hookah control with the paranoia through. The nade slows it down and eliminates that threat. We've seen this play before, and we've seen the counter as well. That paranoia coming through from Portal. Hot Hands does go down to prevent the flank, but now they're sewn in. They're stuck into these positions. They're going to have to fight their way out of it. The nade comes through, but the kills are piling up right now for Sentinels, and they know what that means for them opportunity-wise. The A site is vacant, and you can see the defense currently starting to rotate back around through spawn. They're not going to get there in time. So Sentinels will be able to set up a spike plant here, as the Recon Dart will give away the positions. They've already got one charging in. It's a headshot dink coming out for Nature, but the fatality, not a problem. Chemicals has to come in and do the remainder of the dirty work. It's a 2-on-3 numbers advantage for Sentinels.
Still very good with the amount of headshots they're getting with these stingers, because after these fights, even if they lose it, either it's Immortals or Sentinels, the person that they lost against is still low on HP, so still very doable for a retake, as Chemicals is only at 32 HP. If they could actually win this from a flank coming in from Sinatra, catches him in a reload, unfortunate there. and that's going to be the force buy coming in favor of Sentinels. I think that shot up at that point when they were trying to retake towards the hookah was a little bit too fast. I'm expecting from the comms, potentially from Immortals, that they wanted to pinch in from the B site and also from the back sands, but a very nice cage that went up from Dapper towards that window prevented Immortals from getting more pressure from the B side, and then shot up just walked into a trap with JC Stani, unfortunately.
So much for that rhythm that they'd been building. They win the pistol and can't muster up enough in the round that follows. Nice curveball coming around the corner. Sick was ready for this setup potentially. This aggressive play gets picked apart early on and they're forced to fall back. The plan is not panning out so well, especially with Sinatra spotting out Chemicals over on the B site. Now the dart is in the belly of Nature, who's over by Showers. You've got Shot up in position, just looking to line one up. Has to watch out for the shock darts. They go a little bit too deep. They've got a good crossfire with the pistols. Another shock dart comes in, but it's actually the classic work of Nature that's doing a bulk of the damage, despite the fact that Shot up's the one that got the kill. You've got Gangsta coming through from spawn. You've got Nature and Showers. You've got JC Stanley starting to rotate around. But another pickup on the round for Sentinels means it's a lot harder here for the last remaining player. And oh god, no one saw that.
It's one of those things, and when you're trying to shoot somebody from behind, it's just so difficult to land it right in the head, like, where you want it to be. So, yeah, a little bit stressful. At least he capitalizes on that, and he didn't invest that much. Ooh. And there you go. He redeems himself with a nice right click in the face of Sinatra. Picks up a weapon in the process, sorry. As he comes across the dark cover, Zoms stops him with the Bulldog. And that's going to be the round coming in for Sentinels. It looked pretty okay, but I think from the fact that they lost the first few shots, I like the counter that you had from Shazam bringing in the L drone. Because him doing that forced Nature, who was in the A cubby, to run back towards the A site and already utilize both of his cages. So any type of stopping power after is going to be so difficult for Immortals when they only have pistols up against 4 players or 3 players running up towards short A.
It will be a buy that includes the op. Will we see that pan out a little bit better for them here on Bind than it did on Split? It felt like Sinatra was way more, or excuse me, Shazam was way more dialed in with the op than Chemicals was in map number 1. But then again, we didn't really get to see the op played too much for IMD, as money was a consistent problem. Here's that Showers play we've seen from them before, but that's exactly what we were talking about. Oh Dapper just slides out, and that should not happen. You have the op on top of the bin, positioned there specifically to prevent that play from being possible. So the very least you'd hope if your op goes down, you get a trade, but no. Dapper on the duck slide back across, sprays one through the wall, and things are just falling apart here. Sick's gonna use the ult, run it back, getting him out of Showers. Sinatra gets vertical yet again, as we've seen him do time and time again. And now Gangsta is the last player alive and likely would be better off saving, going back to the B site and grabbing the op that was dropped by Chemicals.
Well executed there for Sentinels at the beginning of this round. From all angles, actually. Showers' control was pretty perfect from the way it was done. For Sentinels, you saw that they utilized, it was a paranoia from the defender side to go against an owl drone. Oof. And then they go for shock darts on the attacker side too, but knowing where the shock dart was coming from, it was direct shots, so it just sprayed through the smoke and got a couple of kills. But Dapper, that 2K that they got into B, just a walking tap in the face of the operator. I'm pretty sure that was Chemicals that was holding up that op. And there you go, a walking to get that kill, a spray to try to trade it back from shot up, where unfortunately the wall bang doesn't come into his favor. You just weaken down so much of that defense for Immortals from both sides of the map, where it's just like easy right now, easy pickings for Sentinels. They could go wherever they want and always have a man advantage into the site. This puts now Immortals back into a mixed buy. You got a couple of stingers. We even have one with no armor, and that is going to be for Nature. Chemicals has nothing but a classic, because it seems as though they want to bring that operator back into the next round to hopefully come back in the second half. But Sentinels, ever since that conversion that they had on the force buy of the stingers, have been making this very one-sided.
Blast pack comes through. I like this setup with players coming through on the portal and trying to get a crossfire in mid. There's a camera down that at least spots out one player. Here's the footsteps of the other. They knew there was one in portal. Again, you've got Sinatra up on top of the double boxes using the blast pack to get a little bit more verticality, but it's a nice pickoff Nature from distance with the Stinger, able to cash in. Now, Six got into backside sight. The rocket actually does manage to land somehow from significant distance post-mortem as well. There's a Hunter's Fury being utilized by the defense. Gangsta sending some shots out from the Sheriff afterwards as well. They've got a player advantage, but they don't really have the firepower. They're going to have to face off against the rifles. Zoms is sneaking onto the site.
30 seconds left.
There's one currently in U-Haul and shot up again with the Stinger. The SMGs have proved to be very good for Immortals when they've needed them. In a pinch, they can go to those weapons and find some success. And they find a thrifty round here that they really needed because they did not want to let Sentinels get any closer to that magic number 13. Does the money break? No, but it's closer to that point for Sentinels.
Yeah, for Immortals, you'll take whatever you can. And looking at that round, that last kill that just happened from Nature onto Shazam, I think it's a little bit of a misstep. He kind of ran in there by himself, maybe trying to take U-shaped hallway control, where he also has a spike on his back. So dropping that weapon early forces the early rotation. And like you said, Bach, when they have a numbers advantage, already knowing where the spike is down, but also where it's very difficult to retake back for Sentinels. And on top of that, to take U-control from the easy rotation from spawn. It was a lot harder for Sentinels to try to capitalize and get that spike back. So very well done to capitalize off the mistake. And speaking about trying to take that leverage to your side, it's going to be the run it back from Shot Up. Gets a little bit of information, a little bit of damage onto Zoms, but does not capitalize on the kill, which now Sinatra tries to move in with the showstopper and gain ground. Meanwhile, one to fall courtesy of Sick inside the A site.
The showstopper ults right now working out quite nicely. More specifically for Sinatra than for his counterpart on Immortals. Immortals, excuse me, are down a player, but Chemicals does end up bringing it back and making it a 3-on-3. The site on B is completely empty, so they force the defense to stack up towards A. Now they'll get a free spike plant out of this, and they even have time to set up for solid post-plant positions. What they don't anticipate is this cam from Nature. So Nature can use that camera to spot out player positions, but there's no one on the site. They're playing back off of this a little bit further away. They do have Neural Theft, so if they can find a kill here and Nature can toss out that hat, it'll give away the remaining players' positions. That Shock Dart might make it a little easier, but the Neural Theft is completely eliminated as a threat. And again, Sentinels do what they've done consistently throughout this series thus far. They shut it down in the post plan.
Despite having two agents that are able to get a little bit of information inside the site, we're talking about the camera from Nature. Then Gangsta threw a recon dart onto the wall into B. When it got into the site, though, they realized it was fully open. It did not ping anybody out. They're thinking, okay, well, they're probably elbow, hookah, but they did not expect a double player crossfire setup from Sick and his teammate over towards Octagon. So as they're trying to run across, it just picked off. Unfortunate there. And that's just off the great pressure that they had on the A side at the beginning of the round. Keeping Immortals where they don't have information of where players are at towards you, towards the A side, and even worse on a retake. So Sentinels adapting very well into the mid-round. One more time, mentioning that again. Mid-round, end-round. Very good in favoring Sentinels in this series so far. This round, it's going to be a couple of shock darts. Sinatra's not going to get damaged that much by it, but they are trying to do a lot of pressure towards this hookah while the rest are moving behind, are running back from Sick and an owl drone, but unfortunately no kills out of that.
Shazam says it's okay. I'll try to find the kills with my ult. From distance, those pulses pour out through the walls. And that'll be Chemicals, who's now watching from the sidelines. I feel like we've seen so many damage-based ults from Sentinels land successfully in this second half and in this the first half of this map specifically. It's just been something they have way more frequently than the players on IMT, and when IMT has it, they don't seem to be landing nearly as many of those. JC Stanny will find one player coming through the showers, but Zoms is there with immediate trade back. JC Stanny is still on site, trying to do some damage, takes down his Omen counterpart, his doppelganger. He's stuck behind default boxes as the spike goes down. Good cover coming in from the team. Spam not really going to do much there through that box. So Sentinels again can set up a post plant, a position they are very scary in, and you've got this slow play coming through the showers from Dapper. That is so incredibly scary. Now the position was given away by the Neural Theft, so that'll prevent the surprise from being a factor, but they've still got to deal with this player who's in U-Haul. They try to spin back, but they just can't keep their eyes peeled on two different sides. It's 12-7. Sentinels are one round away from closing out map number 2, and going up in the series they came into with a disadvantage.
Yeah, and that's why Shower's control on the defender side is so important. You lose that right there, on a post plan. It's just so hard to, from the tight angles that you can play from Showers, the jiggle peek that you have if it comes down to a 1 versus 1 on the post plan for the attackers, and even just trying to waste down the clock if they're trying to chase after you towards Showers. There's multiple angles and corners you could hide behind from, and just make sure that they stay as far away from the spike. But now when you're trying to push towards you, he comes in for the backstab, which is very well done for Sentinels. Again, we talked about how good Immortals were on the Showers control, but unfortunately in this game today, it's not the same that we saw versus LG yesterday. And now into this round, map point for Sentinels to try to make this 2-1 in this series in this best out of 5 grand finals. It's Sentinels now taking control and pressure of Short A and Hookah, but we are trying to fight back here as Chemicals is trying to spray with the Singer through the smoke, puts one at low HP, a double peek, but a body block, unfortunately, as two, or should I say a first one falls towards Hookah.
Gangsta somehow survives with 1 HP. JC Stanny, who was trying to take this fight early on Short, spent his paranoia, but still used his dark cover to at least get one before being taken out. It's a 3-on-3 again with 45 seconds. Nature does have that great flank, like you said, coming through after pushing through from Showers. Are they prepared? They do turn around, but not in time. The rifle's going to get picked up by Nature. Great shooting coming in, and they're not out of this one yet. Shot up from up on Heaven, squeezes a bullet over the top of the box. And we'll find number 8 for IMT. They're going to need to win 4 more in order to force us into an overtime scenario. And for those unfamiliar, 5K, and they swap sides after every round. You have to win 2 in a row. Ult points reset to half should we end up in that situation.
So it seems like it's still doable here for Immortals. Yes, they're going to be on a lower buy, but they'll have a couple of rifles, maybe small shields now for Chemicals in the end. He's going to go full shield and Stinger instead. And what I did like about Immortals on that previous round is that we talked about how good they were in Showers control and didn't work out. This time they're switching things up. Let's try to add pressure towards Hookah. They were able to surprise 2 players there, and they're going to try it again towards that area. So a recon dart, yes, is going to show that there's going to be at least 1 or 2 presence for Immortals inside Showers, but now they try to fight back towards Hookah, where the best agent so far for that, you see it, it's Sinatra. Boombot to try to clear it out, paint shells being thrown, even the satchel charges, just to try to keep them back and preventing them from pushing forward into this Hookah control for the defenders. But again, it's a stalemate. There's no control yet, so it's still a very good win for Immortals in the end.
They've done a decent job at keeping Sentinels out of Hookah early on, but these long-range battles have not gone their direction. Looking back a couple of rounds when Chemical had the op on top of boxes inside sight, unable to pick up a kill onto Dapper that should have been theirs. Because of the nature of that last round win, their money isn't fantastic either. So they're down to 3 players here as the site's been lost. JC Stanny, again, trying to do the Lord's work for Immortals. But now it's all fallen onto the last remaining player inside Hookah. The position's given away, but Nature is still fighting for this one. 2 quick kills come out from the Cypher mains. And there's a 1v1 on site with the flank basically coming through on B-Long, playing towards the bomb with Shazam. It's 13-8 in favor of Sentinels, a much better scoreline in general for Immortals. But now they've lost their advantage in this series. They were up 1-0 after coming in from the upper bracket. It's now 2-1 in favor of